Thompson family Christmas dinner had always been an exercise in endurance, but this year was different. This year I came prepared. "Pass the potatoes, useless," my brother Mark called out, not even bothering to look at me. At 35, he still lived in our parents' sprawling Victorian house, contributing nothing but criticism and excuses. I handed over the bowl, catching Mom's nervous glance. She knew what was coming. It happened every Christmas. The ritual humiliation of Sophie Thompson, the family's designated failure. "So Mark," Dad beamed at his only son, "how's the new business venture going?" Mark launched into an elaborate explanation of his latest sure thing, some cryptocurrency scheme that would supposedly make millions. It was his 15th failed business in 10 years, all funded by remortgaging this house that had been in our family for generations. "Of course," he added, shooting me a smirk, "some of us actually take risks in life instead of hiding in a tiny apartment with a dead-end job." I thought about my tiny apartment, a penthouse in the city's most exclusive building, and my dead-end job as CEO of Phoenix Investment Group, one of the largest private equity firms in the country. But they didn't know that. To them, I was just a low-level financial analyst who couldn't even help with the mortgage. Speaking of the mortgage, Mom started hesitantly. "The bank called again?" "Don't worry about it," Mark waved his hand dismissively. "My crypto investment is about to pay off big time. We'll be able to pay off the whole house." "Like your NFT scheme last year?" I couldn't help asking. "Or the failed food truck business the year before? At least I'm trying something." Mark snapped. "What have you done except waste your finance degree on some entry-level job? You can't even help your own family keep their home." Dad cleared his throat uncomfortably. "Now Mark." "No, Dad, she needs to hear this. Do you know how embarrassing it is to have a sister who's such a failure? Who won't even loan her family money when they need it?" I thought about the folder in my bag, about the carefully orchestrated plan I'd set in motion 3 months ago when I discovered they'd remortgaged the house for the 5th time. "The bank's threatening foreclosure," Mom whispered, staring at her plate. "We might lose the house." "We wouldn't be in this mess if Sophie helped out," Mark declared. "But no, she's too selfish, too useless to help her own family." I reached for my bag, feeling the weight of the documents inside. "Actually, about that mortgage." "Oh, now she wants to help?" Mark laughed bitterly. "Too late, sis. The bank's already sold the mortgage to some investment firm. Probably going to kick us out after New Year's." "Phoenix Investment Group," I said quietly. Mark frowned. "What?" "The firm that bought your mortgage. It's called Phoenix Investment Group." I pulled out the folder. "And you're right about one thing, eviction notices go out after New Year's." Dad's fork clattered against his plate. "How do you know that?" I spread the documents on the table, watching their faces as realization slowly dawned. "Because I'm not just a financial analyst. I'm the CEO of Phoenix Investment Group. And yes, I bought your mortgage last month." The turkey slipped from Mom's hands, landing with a heavy thud on the antique tablecloth. The silence that followed was deafening. Mark's face had gone from smug to ashen, while Dad stared at the Phoenix Investment Group letterhead with its distinctive logo. "This is a joke," Mark finally managed. "You can't be. I mean, Phoenix is worth billions." I supplied. "Yes, it is. Funny how none of you ever bothered to check what I was really doing all these years. Too busy funding Mark's latest schemes to notice my name in Forbes, I suppose." Mom's hands trembled as she reached for the documents. But you're our daughter. You wouldn't really evict us. Like you wouldn't really remortgage my college fund for Mark's failed restaurant?" I countered. "Or how you wouldn't really skip my graduate school graduation because Mark needed moral support at his cryptocurrency seminar?" I pulled out more papers, years of documented financial abuse, failed ventures, and remortgages that had slowly drained our family home of its value. "Let's review, shall we? In the past 10 years, you've remortgaged this house 5 times. Total amount, $2.3 million. All gone into Mark's business ventures. Not one of which lasted more than 6 months. Those were temporary setbacks," Mark protested weakly. "Really? Let's list them. The food truck that never got a license. The NFT gallery that sold nothing. The cryptocurrency that turned out to be a Ponzi scheme. Should I continue?" Dad found his voice. "Sophie, please. This house has been in our family for 4 generations. I know. I also know you were willing to risk losing it to fund Mark's failures while telling me I was useless for pursuing a career in finance. I turned to my brother. By the way, that crypto investment you're counting on? The one you put the last $100,000 of equity into? The SEC shut it down this morning. Check your phone. Mark grabbed his phone, his face crumpling as he read the news alerts. Another total loss. You could have warned me, he shouted. Like you warn Mom and Dad every time you lost their money? Besides, warning you would have been insider trading. Unlike you, I actually understand financial laws. I stood up, straightening my jacket. Armani, not that they'd notice. The eviction notice gives you 30 days. I suggest you start packing. Wait. Mom was crying now. We can work something out. We're family. Family. I laughed, but there was no humor in it. Was it family when you mortgaged my college fund without telling me? When you told relatives I was a disappointment because I wouldn't invest in Mark's schemes? When you spent years treating me like I was worthless because I chose stability over get-rich-quick scams? Mark jumped up, his chair toppling backward. You vindictive bitch. Careful, I cut him off. Your future landlord might not appreciate that language. Oh wait. I pulled out another document. I also bought the apartment building you were planning to move to. No vacancy for you there either. You can't do this to us, Dad pleaded. Where will we go? I pulled out one final set of papers. I've prepared 3 options. Let's review them, shall we? Just like you all love to review my life choices. The first document landed on the table. Option 1. Complete eviction. You leave with whatever you can carry. The house gets renovated and turned into a shelter for victims of financial abuse. Ironic, isn't it? Mom's tears had stopped, replaced by a look of horrified understanding as she finally saw me, really saw me for the first time in years. Option 2. Another paper joined the first. You can stay but with conditions. Mark moves out immediately. He gets a real job. I've arranged an entry-level position at one of my subsidiaries. No more business ventures, no more remortgaging. He starts at the bottom and works his way up like I did. Mark started to protest, but Dad silenced him with a look. And option 3. The final document hit the table like a judge's gavel. You sign the house over to me completely. I pay off all debts. You become my tenants, paying fair market rent. Every payment builds equity that you can leave to Mark since you're so concerned about his future. But one missed payment, one more failed scheme, and you're out. You've thought of everything, haven't you? Dad's voice was quiet. I learned from the best. Wasn't it you who always said, plan ahead, while signing away our family legacy to fund Mark's dreams? I checked my watch, a subtle Patek Philippe that cost more than their remaining equity. You have until New Year's Eve to decide. Choose wisely. Mark suddenly lunged across the table, grabbing for the papers. You can't do this to me. This is my house too. Security, I called out softly. 2 men in suits appeared from the hallway. I'd had them waiting outside, knowing my brother's tendencies. Please escort Mr. Thompson out. He can return tomorrow to collect his belongings. As they led a struggling Mark away, Mom finally found her voice. When did you become so cold? Cold. I turned to her. I learned cold when you froze me out of this family. I learned cold when you chose his failures over my successes. I learned cold when you taught me that family only matters when they need something from you. I gathered my things, leaving the options papers on the table. For what it's worth, I hope you choose option 2. Not for Mark's sake, but because somewhere under all his schemes and your enabling, there might still be the family I used to love. Dad stood up, looking older than his 60 years. We were wrong about you. So wrong. Yes, you were. The useless daughter built an empire while the golden son built castles in the air. Life's funny that way. As I reached the door, Mom called out one last time. Will we ever be a family again? I paused, thinking of all the Christmases I'd spent alone while they celebrated Mark's latest venture. That depends on what you choose. Not just which option, but who you choose to be from now on. 3 days later, they chose option 2. Mark moved out, cursing my name but showing up for his first day of real work. Mom and Dad started counseling to address their enabling behaviors. The house stayed in the family, but with new rules and new understanding. Today, 5 years later, things are different. Mark's actually good at his job when he applies himself. He's earned 2 promotions on merit alone. Mom and Dad have learned to celebrate success that doesn't come with get-rich-quick promises. Me. I kept my useless nameplate from my first finance job. It sits on my desk at Phoenix headquarters, right next to my CEO placard and the family photo we took last Christmas. The first one where nobody called me useless. Sometimes the best revenge isn't eviction. It's teaching people the value of what they almost lost, both in property and in family. And sometimes, the most useless member of the family turns out to be the one who saves it all. The mortgage papers? They're framed in my office, a reminder that true worth isn't measured in square footage or failed schemes, but in the wisdom to know the difference between real success and hollow dreams. After all, every empire starts with someone who was once called useless. An unexpected epilogue came last month when Mark approached me with an actual business proposal, his first legitimate one. He'd spent 3 years learning the industry, developing a solid plan for a financial literacy program aimed at preventing others from falling into the same traps he once set. "I know I don't deserve your trust," he said, sliding the business plan across my desk. "But I've learned from my mistakes. And from you." I reviewed his proposal. It was thorough, realistic, and actually addressed a real need in the market. More importantly, it showed how much he'd grown. "You know what the biggest difference is between this and all your other schemes?" I asked him. He shook his head. "This one isn't about getting rich quick. It's about helping others avoid that trap." We launched the program last week. Second Chance's Financial Education operates out of the renovated ground floor of our family home, Mom's idea, actually. Mark runs it with the same enthusiasm he once had for crypto, but this time channeled into something meaningful. Dad volunteers there twice a week, sharing his own cautionary tale about enabling financial abuse. Mom handles the outreach program, connecting with other families trapped in cycles of failed ventures and remortgages. The useless sister? I'm just the silent partner who makes sure the numbers add up. Because sometimes the best success stories come from the most unexpected sources. And sometimes family redemption starts with an eviction notice and ends with a new beginning. The Christmas dinner table looks different now. Instead of schemes and insults, we share stories of lives changed through the program. Mark's eyes shine with a new kind of pride, not from dreams of easy money, but from making a real difference. Me. I finally feel at home in our family house again, watching my brother teach others what he learned the hard way. That true worth isn't in get-rich-quick schemes, but in building something real one day at a time. Sometimes the best revenge is watching those who hurt you grow into people worthy of forgiveness.